Well. Good morning. We have some technical difficulties going on here this morning. I don't know exactly why it's doing what it's doing, but oh, I know what's going on. Hold on. I know what's happening. I'm hearing two things. Hold on for a second. There we go. I got it now. Oh my goodness. I was hearing myself and I couldn't figure out why. And now I know. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Don Daniel. And I'm the founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And for 18 years, we've been giving out this information about how loans actually work. And today we're going to be talking about the lending industry in and of itself. Now, I'm not talking about the people who participate in the lending industry. I'm talking about how it got started, how and what does it mean for all of us. So here's a question. Here's a question I have for you right now. And you tell me, put it in the chat. All right. Say good morning or whatever you have to do. Is it fraud to set up a system with a majority, where the majority of the people use that system, but are totally unaware of how it works? And those who set it up make financial gain. One more time. Is it fraud to set up a system where the majority of the people use it, but are totally unaware of how it works? You mean no education on it, and that there is financial gain for those who set up the system? Put your answers in the chat. Yes or no. Is it fraud? Is it fraud? What do you think? And if you listen, I would love to start this conversation. Please come to the stage and share your information with us. All right. Or put it in the chat. I would love it if some folks would come up to the stage and start this conversation with me. All right. So raise your hand. And if you're on Clubhouse, come up to the stage. Now, listen, I'm going to be putting some things on the screen today. And if you want to see it, then you want to go to YouTube. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. We're copying the link. We're putting it in the chat. Boom. All right. And that's our link on YouTube. So if you want to see the examples that we're talking about on how we have not been educated on how these loans work, and not only that, folks, but even the things that we've been taught to do to save us money actually cost us a ton of money. All of the education is wrong. I mean, we have been led down a path. Let me put it this way. We're playing a game we don't know the rules to. If that's the case, how can we win? How can we win if we're playing a game we don't know the rules to? So let me start with, okay, I got to listen, nobody wants to engage in the conversation with me today. Nobody wants to come to the stage. Come on, listen, even if you don't want to talk, raise your hand, come to the stage. All right. You're in the mortgage syndicate this morning, and I'm the founder of Pill Method. So, but we have a Pill Method house that you can join. Also, join the mortgage syndicate. Join their house if you're not a member. So let's jump right into this. I'm going to put some things on the screen. And if you want to see this, go to YouTube. I've got the link in the chat. And I've got some of you coming over already. Now, you can go on a separate device so you can continue to hear on Clubhouse. All right. And if you want to see what we're doing, then you can pull up on your phone, a second phone, or maybe your laptop, or maybe an iPad or something like that. So you can actually see what we're putting up on the screen right now. So let me go ahead and share this screen with you. There we go. And we're going to put that right there. All right. And bring me up as well. Okay. Now, all 30-year mortgages should not last 30 years. Maybe between 7 and 9, maybe between 7 and 12, but certainly not 30 years to pay off a 30-year mortgage because of how it's set up. Now, I'm going to ask you, how many of you have ever been to a class on how amortization actually works? These loans, the amortization schedule for mortgages, student loans, credit cards, personal loans. Have you ever had a class on how it all works? Put a yes or a no in the chat right now, or come up to the stage and talk. Come on. Listen, I don't bite. It's not going to hurt at all if you raise your hand to come to the stage and talk to me today. All right, I guarantee it. So here's some answers. Let's see. Never, no, no, and no. All right. So we have not had that class. So we're going to go over some of the things today, and you tell me if this is not important. Okay. So right now we are live. All right, we are live on let's see, we're live on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and Twitter, and of course Clubhouse. All right, so we're live all the way there. So now, if you want more information about where we're going with this, I'm going to put my link at the top of the page, which is ice10k.com. ice 10k.com. There it is. And I'm also going to put it on the screen. All right. ice10k.com is on the screen as well. Also, I have a book out, and that's the copy of my book, A Pill Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. And you can go to ice10k.com to see more about that book. All right. But here's what I need to start with today. 90%. All right. 90% of the people you know with a mortgage will never pay off a mortgage. That's huge. 90% of the people you know with a mortgage will never pay one off. Let me ask you, if you were sending your children to a school and you knew that 90% of the students that went to that school failed to graduate, would you send your children to that school? Okay. Yes or no? Come on, talk to me this morning, everybody. All right. And if you're online, go ahead, you can put it in the comment section. So you see 90% of us that have 90% of us who know people who have a mortgage, 90% of the people you know will never pay off a mortgage. Now think about it. I don't care how old you are and listening to me today, whether it's live or on the replay. Just count how many people you actually know that paid off a mortgage. It'll be less than 10% of the people you know. Why are we engaged in a system where 90% of us are set up to fail? And we didn't get into it to fail. What I mean by fail is you got a house, but when you bought the house, did you intentionally tell yourself that I'm never going to finish paying for this thing? Did that enter into your mind that you will never finish paying for it? I don't think so. I think that when I first bought a house, it was my intention to pay for it, to pay it off, to stop making those mortgage payments. That was the intention. But that's not the way this thing is set up. Now, let me tell you, 30-year loans should pay off in 7 to 9 years on average. That's what they should do. 7 to 9 years on average. So the only way this can happen is through optimizing your loan, meaning your money has to do more work for you than it does for the bank. Now, if you pulled out your mortgage statement before you came here, but you can put your hand on it right now, pull out your mortgage statement if you have a mortgage and take a look at how much money goes to principal and how much goes to interest. Did you know that can be turned around so that more money goes to principal and less money goes to interest once you know how? But we're not being taught that. Okay. We're being taught the other way. Make your payments on time every month and we'll give you a great credit score. But in the meantime, 75 to 83% of your mortgage payment goes to interest. That's way too much. Way too much. Our goal at the P.I.L.L method is for you to, if you have a home and you want to own it free and clear, you can. Now, there's some investors out there that they're not interested in paying it off, and that's okay. But they are interested in gaining equity faster and cheaper so that they can cash out refi to buy more properties. Either way, okay? Either way, whether you want the house free and clear, or you want to build equity faster and cheaper, this is the methodology you want to learn today. All right? So let me show you some examples around the country about how possible it is to pay off loans faster and cheaper. All right. A $500,000 mortgage can be paid off in 11 years here in Alabama. In Tennessee, $216,000 can be paid off in 5.4 years, saving $170,000. In Georgia, here's what we're doing. 270,000, 26 years to pay, paid off in 8.3 years, saving $135,000 in interest. You can do all of this without refinancing. Okay. Refinancing is not mandatory to get out of debt in 7 to 9 years. Okay. It's not. You can do it without change to your budget, meaning however you're spending your money now. Okay. However you're spending your money now, we can figure out for you the month, day, and year you could be debt free based on your spending pattern now. Okay. And if you like your results, you don't have to change your spending pattern. If you don't like your results, then we might be able to talk about how you might be able to change your spending pattern. But for the most part, guess what? You can do it without sacrificing lifestyle. You can live a great lifestyle and get out of debt. And I'm not talking about just the mortgage. I'm talking about the mortgage, the credit cards, the car loans, everything. How is it that we can pay all of this off in 7 to 9 years, but we're not taught? Because the lending industry makes a ton of interest on these loans. And we've never been taught how they do it. Now, if you're new to the room, I have my link to the YouTube channel where you can watch this live, where you can watch these examples live on screen right now so that you can see what we're talking about. All right. So go there right now and you'll be able to see that on a secondary device. So here's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. You will not hear what we're talking about today. Okay. You won't get it from a YouTube channel, except for the P.I.L.L Method YouTube channel. You won't get it from your accountant. You won't get it from your financial planner. You won't get this information from your banker. There's a reason why. It's because I own the content. I own the copyright. How is it that you know, Don, and others don't know? Well, the reason why I know is because when I look at an amortization schedule, I see the pictures and the patterns because of how my brain is wired up. I found out later in life that I have what some people term as Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder. So when I look at an amortization schedule, I see it differently. I see the patterns. I say, why are we following this pattern that costs us so much money when we can just change the pattern and save a ton of money and still buy the property? Paying all that interest is not necessary. Here's where you will also not get this information. You won't get it from Dave Ramsey. I guarantee you that. Or Susie Orman, or Gene Chatsky, or Larry Burkett. You're not going to get this information from them at all. Okay. I said folks are laughing already. I see you laughing. All right. Okay. All right. So anyway, you're not going to get it from them. You're not going to get it from them. And it's not because they're hiding information. It's not because they're hiding it. It's because they haven't been educated on it either. What? I don't care where you go, and I don't care how hard you look, trying to understand how an amortization schedule actually works. I mean, how the money is calculated and what you can do about it is not taught anywhere except here. Right? The ability to read an amortization schedule is not taught at any level of financial education. If you're a real estate investor, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a MLO, a mortgage loan originator, if you are a CPA, if you listen, I don't care what financial background you have, how to read an amortization schedule so it benefits you is not taught at any level of financial education. And I've had many, many real estate agents tell me, listen, I got my license, but they didn't teach me how to read this thing. I've talked to loan officers. Yes, I can sell you a mortgage all day, and I got different products I can sell you. But understanding the amortization schedule so I can teach my clients how not to pay all that interest, I have never been taught how the loan actually works that I'm selling. And everyone will tell you that. To get their license, they were not taught. So here is what P.I.L.L method stands for, ladies and gentlemen. It stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. So let's go over that. Prepayment of principal. When you prepay, meaning you can actually give the bank back their money on your timing. So once you make a mortgage payment, a car loan payment, or whatever it is you're paying, credit cards, any other monies that you apply to your loan before the next month is due. Okay. Once you make a payment, a full payment, and you put any other monies on that loan in the same month, that money goes to principal. That's called prepaying principal. Now, here's what we don't know about prepaying principal. We don't know what happens when we do. I know a bunch of you have paid extra on a loan. You put extra money on your loan, trying to pay it off faster. Okay. Have you ever received a receipt from a banking institution, whether it's for your mortgage company, whether it was a car loan, a credit card, a personal loan? Have you ever received a receipt saying, thank you very much for this extra payment? Here's how much interest you saved. And here's how much time you just knocked off this loan. Have you ever received that? No, you haven't. And there's a good reason why. The lenders who are making money off this loan, they know some. Now, I'm not talking about the people who work in these institutions. I'm talking about the people who own them, who own the banks, who own the credit card companies. They know very well how these loans work. They know it, but they're not teaching the employees. So don't blame the employees. Okay. They know how it works. Now, am I upset? Are they doing anything illegal? No. Are they doing anything immoral? I don't think so. Well, here's what I'm saying is that education is not the people who are selling us these loans. We should not rely on them to educate us on how they work. We shouldn't. And so we can't blame them for not teaching us how the loans work, because that's how they make their money. Now, I'm teaching this because they can get by on a lot less money. I mean, they're trillions upon trillions of dollars in interest on just the number of mortgages in the United States alone. Trillions upon trillions of dollars are being made because we don't understand it. Okay. So isolating the principal amount. Did you know that if you can isolate how much principal to prepay, meaning the exact number to prepay, okay, then you can save more money in interest per dollar if you put the right amount at the right time. So isolating it takes a lot of math to figure that out. Leverage means what is the smallest amount of effort I can put into something to get a greater result? Meaning, if you set up the right pulley system, a 12-year-old girl can lift an engine block with one hand if you set up the right leverage system. Leverage means what is the what is the least amount of effort I can put into something to get a greater result. So when it comes to prepaying loans and saving interest, it's about the smallest amount of my money that I can apply at a given time to save the maximum amount of interest per dollar, not throwing all of my money at the loan like some folks in Tennessee are trying to get you to do. Okay? Don't go anywhere, don't do anything, don't live can't live a great lifestyle, none of that. Okay? So that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Cutting up your credit cards, eating beans and rice 7 days a week, driving a 30-year-old car. Does anybody here want to live like that? I don't know anybody who wants to live like that. So, and once you understand leverage, you understand how your money can work harder for you than it does for the bank. And then liquidity, understanding all of your funds, okay? The money you have in the bank, the money that you have in your pocket, the money that's on your credit cards, the understanding all of your money and knowing how liquid it is and knowing it how to use all. Can I give you an example of what I'm talking about? Okay, let me give you just a quick example of what we're talking about, and Credit Ninja will be able to bear this out. Okay, because we're going to ask her to speak here in just a minute. So, listen, folks, do you know how many people I run into that have a balance on their credit cards? Let's say 5,000 or 10,000, and they got 25, 30, $40,000 in the bank because they don't understand liquidity. Okay, listen, you're making, if you have that kind of cash in your bank account, you are making 1/10 of 1% on that money that you're looking at in the bank account that makes you feel so good. And even if you have a good interest rate on what most people would consider a good interest rate on your credit cards, whether it's 7 or 10, I mean, even 15 or 20, listen, whatever interest you're paying on your credit card, you can stop it today. Let me give you an example. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit of math here for you guys. So I have $5,000 that I owe on my credit card. $5,000 I owe on my credit card. And I have $10,000 in my bank account. Okay. What if I took $5,000 out of my bank account and paid off the credit card? Okay, I'm going to do this one more time. Listen closely because I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to need you to put it in the chat or come to the stage. Okay, I have $10,000 in the bank and I have $5,000 that I owe on the credit card. I'm going to take $5,000 out of the bank and I'm going to pay off the credit card to zero. How much money do I have available to spend? That's the question. How much money do I have available to spend? Put it in the chat or come to the stage. Credit Ninja, how are you doing while we're getting our answers?
Good morning. How are you, Don? I've been gone. I've been in Europe, so I just got back, and I noticed there's a lot of changes in Clubhouse, and I just saw you on in the app, and I can't find anybody else but you, so I thought I'd come and support. This is all really good talk, guys. These are the conversations that most people need to know, and you make 1,000% sense with this, Don. And people just don't realize that what they're putting in the bank, they're actually hurting themselves because that could have been used to eliminate debt. And that's what we talk about. Is interest canceling is the name of the game. Sometimes people are making the wrong moves because they don't know any better. And when you're in your own shit, whatever, you can't see it. So you need someone like you to come in or myself to take a look at it, have fresh eyes, and say, you know what, have you considered this? Like, why are you doing this? Here's another way. So I love these conversations, Don, and it's been a pleasure knowing you all these years and really serving the community at this highest level. That's a picture of me in Portugal not too long ago, about 4 or 5 days ago. But I was in Europe for the last 3 weeks, and I just been traveling all over Europe, and just came back from Asia before that. And go out there and see the world. And you're right, like, don't hold back. If you want to go do something, make plans on it and go and enjoy life at the same time as building your wealth. Back at you, Don.
Thank you very much, Credit Ninja. Listen, I was wondering where you were. I haven't seen you around. You've been traveling. Listen, I want to travel like you. That's what I want to do. Okay, and I'm sure. Listen, we want to get some. We want to get some tips and tricks on traveling. Maybe you can come back and we can talk about credit and traveling and points and all that. Is that a conversation we can have in the future?
We can definitely do that. And I want to meet you one day. I don't know. Have you announced your next meetup, or what's the event you're doing? Because at the end of the day, these apps are really nice, but meeting people in real life is totally my jam, and building these authentic relationship. And less is more. You don't have to meet a ton of people, but strategically, if you meet the right people to add in your repertoire of team, it's gonna really impact more lives. So when is your next meetup, and what's your plan? What's your game plan for the end of the year? Because we got.
Well, my next two meetups are actually going to be online. I plan to go to. I was thinking about going to New York and for the first week in October, first Thursday in October. But that's it. What are you happening out your way? So listen, if you invite me to something, I just might come. What do you got going on?
I don't have anything. I know that Kareen Mills has something. It's a retreat in Oregon, high ticket offer event. But guess what I'll do? Let's just have a conversation off the app. I'm gonna go. There's no way for me to get a hold. Okay, I'll just. You can't even message on this app anymore, right, Don? I mean, I don't know. I don't
No, you
understand.
can't. I'm going to
What
put.
happened now?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in the chat. I'm going to put my office number in 256-886. 1867. All right. So that's my office number. I put it in the chat. Call the office and leave a message. All right. If you call today, they'll just
And then
tell you.
I'll message you on Instagram too. How about that?
Yes, and message me on Instagram. There you go. We can do it that way. And then we can trade numbers and then we'll get together. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at your answers here, and I have Dion Bradford saying 5,000 cash. Al Walter says 5,000 we have available to spend. Chantel said 6,000, and 6,000 cash and one credit here. And Dion Bradford came back and said 5,000 cash and 5,000 credit. Okay, that is the correct answer. You still have $10,000 available to spend. Because when you put that money on your credit card, it is still money. It's fungible. Fungible means it's interchangeable. I can spend it. So if I keep that money in my bank account and I have a credit card at 15%, what I'm doing is I'm paying 15% interest to keep my money in the bank. I'm paying 15% interest to keep my money in the bank. Why would I do that? So when I understand fungibility, when I understand liquidity, I can say, you know what? I can turn off that spigot. I can turn off that interest generating machine by taking 5,000 here and putting it on the credit card, and I still have $10,000 in order to spend. So Chantel says, I'm confused. And she just starts laughing. 5,000 is 5,000. All right. But what I don't want to do is pay the credit card companies so that I can look at my money in the bank. Just pay that off and then take a look at and see how much money you still have available to spend. It's a better feeling. Okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So I need some more people to come to raise their hand and come to the stage. All right. and I'm looking. All right, and I'm not seeing anything, but that's okay. So if you're looking at what on our screen here, look at our screen. All right, and on our the next thing we're putting on our screen is this, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. Here is the formula. Here's the formula that the bank uses to charge interest. Okay. And let me tell you, in simplicity, if it's a 30-year loan, let me tell you what this thing does. It takes a 30-year loan and says, okay, if we take this thing and let's say your interest rate is 6%. Why is it so complicated here? Okay. Why doesn't it just make it $200,000 at 6% interest? Why all of this gobbledygook, which makes it hard for us to understand? Because what this does, ladies and gentlemen, it takes if you have a mortgage of $200 or $300 or $400,000, whatever it is, and it's at 6%, it turns it into not one mortgage, but 360 separate mortgages. 360 separate mortgages, which means they get to charge you 360 times when it comes to that interest. That's why it's so doggone expensive. Okay. That's why this formula turns that 200, 300 or $400,000 mortgage you have into 360, and that's 360 months. That's 30 years, 360 months, 360 separate opportunities for them to charge you money. That's what this thing does. And it's not being taught that way. I'm going to break it down for you so that you can see it today. And listen, if you're new to the room, you definitely want to come to, says, I don't see anything on the screen. And here's why. If you're new to the room, go to YouTube so that you can see what we're doing here. Go to YouTube so that you can see it. Let me see if I can still paste the YouTube link. There it is. That's our live YouTube link that is on this. Put it in the chat just now. You can get that link and go to YouTube on another device. So you can listen on Clubhouse, but you want to see what we're doing on YouTube. All right. Melissa B. She says, got it. Thank you, Melissa. I love it. I love it. Okay, everybody. So here we go. I see a party hat in here. That means you've been on Clubhouse less than a week. Stevan, thank you for being here. You definitely want to join this house, which is you go up to the top, click Mortgage Syndicate, and join Mortgage Syndicate. And also click on my profile and join. Join a Pill Method house. Okay. So look at that. That is the formula for turning your mortgage into 360 separate mortgages. All right. That is the formula. So if the bank has a formula to do all of that to you, this formula right here, where is your formula? Let me go back. Where is your formula or algorithm to cut interest costs? Do you have one? Do you have a way to beat them at their own game? My goodness. Here's what bank owners don't want you to know. Here's what they don't want you to know. All right. Amortized interest is deceptive. When you have a 6% loan, somebody raised their hand. All right. Let me see here. Miss Linda raised her hand. Let's bring her up. Okay. Come up to speak, Miss Linda. When you have a 6% loan and you think it's just 6%, oh my goodness. Are you getting surprised every single month that you get your mortgage paper? Miss Linda, thank you for coming to the stage. Do you have a question today?
Hi. Um, okay, this may be a simple question to somebody else, but because they've changed Clubhouse so much, you're saying that I can join some of your things. I don't see where I can join.
Okay. If you like, if you go up to the top of your screen, do you see where it says mortgage syndicate?
I see it.
If you click on that, it opens it up, and you can actually you can join it'll put you on what's called the waiting list, and then they'll let you in.
Okay, I see ICE, Credit Ninja, Linda Murray, but it doesn't say anywhere where I can join. It doesn't say. It doesn't have any indication.
Okay.
Now, if I
Try. Here's what you do. Do you see the where it's got two people with a star on their heads? When you click
yes,
click that. Tell me what you see.
okay, add members. You have 10 invitations to give.
Oh, you may be a member
Find
already. Then you may be a member already. Yeah. So
okay.
just
Copy link.
click the three dots. Come back
Okay.
out and click the three dots.
Okay, it says reset link or cancel.
You don't want that.
Okay.
Okay. You want to come back out.
Just
I
so
know.
frustrating because it's
I know, but
okay.
because of that, I think you may be a member of the mortgage syndicate already. Have you ever been to the mortgage syndicate before?
Probably. I mean,
Yes.
there's that. Those are things that are interesting to me. So I've got certain things that are interesting to me, and
All right.
I know it.
So Linda, I'm clicking on your profile, and I'm gonna scroll down to your profile here, and it should have. Oh, if you click your profile and it says which houses you're already a member of, and you're a member of the
Okay.
mortgage syndicate.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yep, I see that. But while you're at it, click on my profile, and you can join the P.I.L.L Method House as well.
Okay, hold on. Okay, the P.I.L.L Method.
So
clicking on
click
that
my
right now.
profile, scroll all the way down, and you'll see the P.I.L.L Method House.
Okay, I see it.
Click
but
on that,
okay, I did.
and now you can. There's to see where you can join it.
Nope, I don't see where I can join it. It just says add to contact, share, P.I.L.L Method International, previous, next,
And you clicked on the P.I.L.L Method House.
Correct.
Okay. Well,
and you've got a picture. It's a picture of you, cause
yeah.
we no longer had a mortgage.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you what to do because I can't see what you see. But listen, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I know. In time, we'll all figure all of this
Okay.
out.
Listen, they've changed a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I got to get back.
know.
I got to jump back into
Okay.
this.
All right. Thank you.
You're
All
so
right.
welcome. All right.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else got any other questions to come up? All right. Go ahead and mute yourself, Miss Linda. There you go. And raise your hands. Come up to the stage. All right. So here's what we've got. All right. Amortized interest is deceptive. All right. Here's what I mean by that. The interest rate you are quoted is not the interest rate you pay. The interest rate you are quoted is not the interest rate you pay. Now, there are a lot of people who do this math and they'll say, yeah, this is what it is. Okay. It is. If it's a 6% loan or if it's a 3% loan, that's what you do because they're looking at one individual month. All right. But take a look at this. I'm putting something on the screen for you right now. I have a $500,000 mortgage at 3%, which you can't even get anymore, at 360 payments. All right. And this is what the bank wants. Okay. So let's take a look and see what they want. Okay. Total interest paid, even on a $500,000 loan. How much interest do they want? $258,887. What? Let me ask you, folks, is 258,000 3% of $500,000? All right. No. In fact, if you borrow money, if you borrow this $500,000, okay, because they're able to charge you 360 separate times, if you let them, you will pay back a total of $758,887. Do you want to pay $758,000 for your $500,000 house? That's what's going on. That's at 3%. And let's break this all the way down for you. Okay. Total Interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51.777%. That 3% becomes 51% of what you borrowed. That 3% becomes 51% of what you borrowed. Automatically, we're not being told up front how this actually works. Now, you don't have to pay all 51%. We're going to get to that. But this is how it breaks down. Now, if that's 3%, what happens if it's 4%? Now you're going to pay back $359,000, and that's 71% of what you borrowed. At 5%, it is $466,000 on a $500,000 loan. What? That's 93. That's 93%. That's almost as much money as I've borrowed. And now you want me to pay you back $966,000 for my $500,000 home. And that's at 5%. You can't get that loan either. At 6%, now they want $579,000 in interest. That's more in interest than I borrowed in principal. Now my house is going to cost me over $1 million. But here's where the interest rates are today, ladies and gentlemen, 7%. On a $500,000 loan at 7%, the bank wants $697,000 interest on this loan. That means you're going to pay back 139% of what you borrowed, almost 140%. What is going on here that we're not being taught this? You see it, but it's not being taught. We want to make sure you understand that today. Okay? So let me see here. Let's take a look. Can I just give you one example here of what's going on? All right. We got a $300,000 loan at 4.25%. The monthly payment is $1,062.50. That's a payment you can afford, right? Okay. If you're new to the room and you want to see this, go to YouTube. I just put the link in the chat. All right. Dion Bradford is saying, aren't we just talking about the difference between simple interest and no, actually we're not. Okay. There is the compound interest and simple interest. You know, when you see it online, people are talking about that. Is when you have a loan, it's all amortized interest. It's all amortized interest, whether it is a mortgage, a credit card, a car loan. Now, if you borrow $10 from me, Dion, and I say, Dion, pay me back $15 tomorrow. Okay. That's a flat fee. That's $5 interest, whereas is actually 50%. Okay. It's 50% flat. Okay. Pay me back 50% tomorrow. All right. That's simple interest. But when you amortize a loan, meaning, and we're going to show you how the bank takes that money and charges you every single month on the unpaid balance. That is amortized interest. Compound interest means you start to pay interest on interest earned. That's compounding. So when you take a look at a mortgage or a credit card or your car loan, that is not compound interest. I know it's said a lot on the internet and maybe even in some books, but it's not compound interest. It's amortized interest, not compounding. Compound means you are going to pay me interest on the interest I've earned last month. Okay, you're going to pay me interest on that. But when you have a mortgage, you pay interest on the unpaid balance each month. That's a different story altogether. All right. I hope that makes sense. And it will make sense later on when we get into this a little deeper. Okay. So start inviting some people in and raise your hand. Come to the stage if you have some more questions, or put in the chat. All right. And so somebody said, does this work on student loans? I have a student loan. Somebody asked this online. They're watching us on YouTube. Does this work on student loans? The answer is yes. I have a student loan example that I'm going to be bringing up towards the end. Okay, there you go. All right. So now we have, in the first month on this loan, or the first month on this loan I have on the screen, your payment is $1,062.50. The first amount of money that goes to principal out of that money is only $413.32. Okay. Let's see here. All right. The amount of interest paid in the first year, the amount of interest paid in the first year on this loan is $12,652.24. The total interest paid for the first 10 years is $115,000. That's an average of $962 a month for the first 10 years. In 10 years, the total principal paid is $61,000. Folks, in the first 10 years, this family pays out a total of $177,000 in the first 10 years. Okay. And out of that money, only $61,000 went to pay down the loan. How fair is that? How fair is that? And people say, I don't make a lot of money. If you have this loan, you most certainly make a lot of money. It's just that your money is going to the wrong place. It's going to pay interest instead of paying down the loan itself. Okay. So now let's understand prepayment of principal. This is where it all starts when you understand this. And I don't care how many times I do this presentation, people ask me this question all the time. Can I really do this? I need you to, if you can't see my screen and you need to see it later, great. But you need to listen closely, because this is a part of your loan. It is called the borrower's right to prepay. Not the borrower has to ask to prepay, not that you got to get permission. It is your right, and it's baked into the loan. Here's what it says. You have the right to make payments of principal at any time before they're due. What? Yeah. Anytime before it's due, you can make principal payments. Now, have you ever bought a car or bought a house and they said, well, you don't, as a courtesy, you don't owe us a payment for the first, for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. Have you ever been told that on a car or a house? You know, you're buying it. So as a courtesy to you, you don't have to pay us for the next 90 days. Guess what's happening during those 90 days? They're still charging you interest. It ain't free. During that 90-day period, did you know you can actually put money on principal to save yourself a ton of interest because of that? Oh man, there is so much we need to know about that. Credit Ninja says 100%. Credit Ninja, listen. I appreciate you being here today. What do you have to say about that 30, 60, 90 day no payments?
It's a scam. It's a scam because they throw it out there as bait, and most people go, oh, well, I guess I don't have to do it. But that's actually going to be counting against you, because time is not on your side. And everything that we're talking about here today, especially, there's no free lunch. There's no free lunch out there. The earlier and prepared you are and paying it up front, it's going to save you a lot of pain down the road. So I agree with you. I'm laughing right now, having my cup of coffee. And I'm totally spitting out my coffee as you're making this statement. I'm loving these talks, and I hope more people invite other people in, because this is a conversation that the banks will never let you know. Thanks. Don.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So listen, click on her profile and read what she does. She's been in this credit game for a very long time, and she knows all the ins and outs, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to these credit cards and how your credit score and your credit profile actually work. Okay. She can help you to get the credit. I'm going to help you to pay it back more efficiently so more of your money goes to where you want it to go. All right. She can help you to get it. I'm going to help you to pay it back. Ha! Come on, let's work together. All right. Now, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. A payment, I'm going to finish this up. The first paragraph, a payment of principal only is known as a prepayment. So, principal only means I can pay principal, but no interest. I want to pay principal, but no interest. Did you know you can make it impossible for the bank to charge you interest on the money you are going to pay them anyway? You can make it impossible for them to charge you interest. How many of you would like to know that? Put a number 9 in the chat if you'd like to know how to make it impossible for the bank to charge you interest, and the rules are written right into the loan. We just don't know how to read it. Well, we're going to learn how to read it today. Okay, put a number 9 in the chat if you want to know how to do this. Now, listen to this part. When I make a prepayment, I will tell the note holder in writing that I am doing so. Now, that has changed over the years, okay? Meaning you just need to let them know in the way they need to be made known. And the bank or institution will let you know how to make prepayments, okay? As long as you let them know in a way that they want to be notified, you're going to be okay. Don't assume that all banks or all lending institutions do this the same way, because they don't. You have to find out. Okay. So I may make a full prepayment, meaning you can pay it all off, or you can make partial prepayments without paying any prepayment charge. All right. In America, there are no prepayment penalties on residential properties. That doesn't mean it will always be that way. Okay. We're the probably the most other advanced countries in the world have prepayment penalties on their loans, on their mortgage loans. And they have variable rate loans. This is the biggest country in the world, most mortgages in the world, and we're the only ones that most people have fixed rate loans. All right, and no prepayment penalties. How about that? Good morning, Ted. Ted says good morning. All right, he's watching us on YouTube. Now let's get to this. Let's get to this last paragraph, because this is most important. The note holder will use all of my prepayments. Oh, you need to zone in on this. The note holder, your banking institution, or whoever holds the note, will use all of my prepayments to reduce the amount of principal that I owe under this note. When you give money to the bank at a certain time, all of the money you give goes straight to principal, none of it to interest. And when you do that, it makes a huge difference in your loan. Okay. If you make a partial prepayment, there will be no changes in the due date or the amount of my monthly payment. Now, people think that if I listen, can I pay ahead on my mortgage? Okay, this is what this means. When you make a prepayment, because of the way the contract is written, you have a mortgage payment every single month, no matter what you do. Okay. Even if you give them $10,000 as a prepayment, you still have a mortgage payment the next month, and it didn't change. It is the same amount. You have the same amount of payment. Okay. But what you may have done, and what you did do, is reduce the number of times they can charge you. And we're going to go over that. When you prepay, you are reducing the number of times they can charge you. And you'll be surprised at how much you get rid of and how much interest you get rid of with just a small amount of money. Oh my goodness. I am getting ready now to teach you, some of you, for maybe for the first time, how to read an amortization schedule and how you can eliminate interest from your mortgage, from your credit cards, from your car loans. Are you ready? Are you ready? Did I see some? Could I see some more number nines in the chat? Are you ready to learn how to read this thing? Okay. I see the number nines coming in. I see the number nines coming in. All right. So here's what we've got. I've got a $200,000 mortgage at 6% for 30 years and 11.99.10. I wish I could get somebody to come up to the stage who has a calculator in hand so they can help me. Is there anybody that has a calculator in hand that could come to the stage and help me out today? All right. Raise your hand because I need somebody else to give these numbers instead of me always giving the numbers. All right. Can I get anybody as a volunteer? Come on. I can't get anybody to help me today. I guess I've got to do it all. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. $200,000 at 6% for 30 years. The payment is $11.99.10. You see, we have a payment we can afford. It's a payment we can afford. It's just expensive to maintain. What? How is it that we have a payment we can afford, but it's expensive to maintain? This is why. Okay. $200,000 mortgage at 6% for 30 years. Here's how much interest the bank wants. $231,676. Folks, that ain't 6% of $200,000. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not 6% of 200,000. 6% of 200,000 is $12,000. How do they get all the way to 231,000? We'll be able to show you today. That's a total payback of $431,000. That is one house for you and one house for the bank. Anybody here, anybody watching this live or the prepay or the replay, do you want to buy one house for the bank and one house for you? One house for you, one house for the bank. One house for you, one house for the bank. Anybody interested in that program? I don't like that program. All right? I don't like it at all. So here's what we're going to do. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 115.838%. We don't want that. Let me show you some. Now, even though we have a program, I want to make this very clear. We have a program. We have a opportunity cost calculator that does all of the math, that tells you exactly what to do and when. Okay. I'm just giving you some simple things so that you can understand a little bit about how the mortgage system works. All right. And what's been done to you since 1936. This was the first amortized loan in the United States was in 1936. It was a 20-year loan. Okay. And no education for the average consumer from that day to this has been offered in our schools. How in the world did that get to be? But watch this. So we have out of that first payment, $199.10 goes to principal, and $1,000 goes to interest. And then we take 190. We subtract that $199.10, and we're left a principal balance of $199,800.90. Then the bank uses that number to figure out how much interest we owe on line 2. Now, this is what they're doing. Remember that formula I said? It makes it so that they can charge you 360 times. You see, because of that formula, a whole $1,000 goes to interest. I only bring the loan down by $199.10. And then they're going to do the same thing to me again the next month. Now they're going to charge me on the $199,800.90. They're going to charge me on that. And the next month means I now owe in interest $999. And that other dollar goes to principal. And so now that my principal on line 2, I will pay $200.10 to principal, $9.99 to interest, And now I owe $199,600. And guess what? They're going to charge me one more time. And each month, a little more money goes to principal and a little less money goes to interest. You see, that goes from 1,000 to 999, 998, 997, 995.99. That's still a lot of money every single month. That's what that formula does. It allows them to charge you 360 times if you let it. Anybody interested in doing that now that you know how it works? Okay. And if you're new to the room, go to YouTube. I have the link in the chat. So let me copy that link again and put it in the chat for all the new people. So if you want to go on a secondary device, you can see these numbers live on YouTube. When you get there, make sure you subscribe and like the videos. Okay. So now let's talk about what we can do to make it better for ourselves. If you pay, let's say you make that first payment in January. You make that first payment in January, and you can see your February principal payment, which is $200.10. I made my payment in January, and now I'm all done. I don't have to make another payment until February. But I can see that if I wait till February, I'm going to give the bank $200.10. Here's my question, everybody. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank that $200.10? Do I have to wait? Anybody? Put in the chat. Do I have to wait? Put it online. All right. All right. Miss Walden, realtor, says no. Oh, okay. Walter says no. Rochelle says no. You don't have to wait. So let's just say I had it. Okay. I do have an extra $200.10. Let me go ahead and give it to the mortgage company. Okay. And they will subtract that from what I owe, but they will not tell me what my benefit is. I'm going to let you know what your benefit is today. Okay. And if I do it this way, I give them that money ahead of time, then I'm paid down to line 2 in January, where I owe $199,600.80. I already owe that. Remember, all of that money goes to principal, so I'm paid down to $199,600.80, the number on line 2. It's right there. So my next mortgage payment then is based on the $199,600.80. They have to charge me on this number, which gives me the numbers on line 3. So I go from line 1, give them $200.10 early, and then I go down to line 3 for my new February payment. And what happens to that $999 in interest on line 2? It is gone. I just eliminated one line from my schedule. Remember, it's about that formula says I'm going to charge you 360 times if you let me. By giving them that $200.10 early, guess what? I just removed one time that they can charge me. It's gone. I just removed it. You can charge me one less time, which saves me $999 in interest I never have to pay. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Why aren't we taught this in school? I'm telling you, an 8th grader can understand this because, listen, I had the opportunity to go to Houston not too long ago and teach this to 8th graders. Do you know I got a standing ovation from 8th graders and they were asking me for my book? Oh, they all got a signed copy. 8th graders interested in this kind of stuff because I told them that their parents are spending their inheritance on interest. Oh my gosh. They said, no way. When I told them how a mortgage works, I showed them this. I said, this is how a mortgage works. Do you want to pay your money this way? All of the students says, heck no. No, they don't want to do that. You know why they were so adamant? It's because they haven't learned it the wrong way yet. They haven't learned it the wrong way. What would happen, folks, if we made a regular mortgage payment in January took a look at the amortization schedule, and gave the bank the next three principal payments: $200.10, $201.10, and $202.10. What if we did that? What if I did that? That's $603.30. $603.30. What if I give them that? Do you realize I'm paid down to line 4 on my amortization schedule in January, where I owe $199,197.60? Do you realize that? So when they want to charge me for February, which number do they get to use? The 199,800 or the 199,197.60 on line 4? They have to use line 4. And when they charge me interest, then it comes out to $995.99 in interest, and I pay $203.11 on my principal. I just removed 3 mortgage payments that I never have to make by giving them $600 early. And how much interest did I just save? $999, $998, $997, nearly $3,000 in interest I never have to pay. Somebody asked me the name of the book. The name of the book is The P.I.L.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt. So let me put a crawl on the screen. So you want to go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com to get the book. So let me put a get a savings. Okay. ice10k.com. There it is. We're going to put that across. I clicked the wrong thing. There it is. Get the P.I.L.L Method book at ice10k.com. It's crawling across the screen right now for you. Thank you for asking. All right. Keisha Smith says, thank you. So let me put that on the screen. All right. There are people who are interacting with us. All right. Thank you, Miss Keisha. Appreciate you being here today. All right. So now, listen, folks, $600 invested can save you this much money in interest. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Now, what would happen? Let me see here. Let me go and click on this and knocking 3 payments out just like that. I need to show you somebody. If they're not saying it, they're thinking it. Well, Don, what if I don't have $600? What if I don't have $200? L. Walter says it's enough. he says it's enough to piss one off. Listen, if you want to know more about this, we're going to give you some information. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and click on. All right, we've been here a little over an hour. We're just going to do a quick reset. Okay, ice10k.com. Click on that and get a savings and earnings report. Get a savings and earnings report today. Did you realize if you have a mortgage, student loans, credit cards, all of this, based on what you've learned so far, would you like to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free? And would you like to know, our team will even tell you for free. You can go to ice10k.com and click on the link that says get a savings and earnings report. Get a savings and earnings report and fill out the information. It's very easy. It's been streamlined. It's been updated. It's very easy to use now. And you, within 48 hours, someone will call you to confirm your information. And once it's confirmed, we will be able to do a savings and earnings report for you. So you'll know the month, day, and year you can be debt free and how much interest you can save using our system. And we'll tell you for free. Now, if you want the program, then we'll talk about that as well, if that's what you want to talk about. Okay. If you want to implement what we're talking about, we'll talk about that too. So let's get back into this thing right now. Okay. Let's get back into it. So now I have, we're at, I don't have $200. I don't have $600. I don't have that extra money, Don. What can I do? What can I do? Let me show you something. It's called the power of the penny. The power of the penny. And you are going to love this. We just learned if we prepaid about $200, it would save us $1,000 in interest. Isn't that good information, ladies and gentlemen? If you think this is good information so far, put some sevens in the chat so I can see. Put some sevens in the chat or online if you think this information is good information right now. Go ahead and put some sevens in here because nobody's talking to me. At least you can send me some numbers. If you think it's good information, put some sevens in the chat. Okay, there we go. Look at them coming in, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming in. Now, I'm going to show you here. If you're looking at this online, you need to see it on YouTube, and maybe you need to watch it later because once we're done, it'll be up on YouTube forever. Okay, $200 prepaid saves me about $1,000 in interest. Okay, I see you, Eric. I see you, Eric Toombs. All right, so here's what we're talking about. Well, what if I didn't have $200? What if I cut that $200 in half? Now I have $100. If I apply $100 to principal instead of the $200, wouldn't I save half the interest? You better believe I would. I would save half the interest. Come on now. What? Yes. Now you tell me if you knew that $100 could save you $500 in interest, would you look at your $100 differently? Lord have mercy. Would you? No wonder you don't get a receipt that says, here's how much interest you saved when you give us this money. Well, listen, Don, I don't have $100. Can I cut it in half again, ladies and gentlemen? Can I cut it in half one more time? Yeah, I can. $50. If I prepay $50 instead of $100, now I'm saving $250 in interest. If I prepay $25, it saves me $125 in interest. $12.50. Listen, I don't have any of that, but I can get $12.50. I can get $12.50. And guess what? That $12.50 on this mortgage saves me $75 in interest. I don't have to pay. $3.25. How much does coffee cost? I mean, at Starbucks, $6.25. Okay. Let me apply that. Okay. I go to Starbucks. Let's say I go to Starbucks 5 days a week. What if I go just 4 days a week? I could take $6.25, apply it to this mortgage, and save $37.50 in interest. $3.13. Can I ask you all a question? If you gave me $3.13 and I gave you back $18.75, how many times would you do that? If you gave me $3.13 and I gave you back $18.75, how many times would you do that? Oh my goodness. Do you realize the bank has to do the exact same thing? Every time John and Rebecca Jones, that's who has this loan, gives them $3.13, it saves them $18.75 in interest they never have to pay. Wow. That $3.13 looks a lot better, doesn't it? Well, I'm not done. Okay. I'm not done with this because when we go to page 2 on this, the power of the penny, it keeps going. I keep cutting it in half. $1.56, 78 cents, 39 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents, down to 1 penny. 1 penny. Do you know that's why I pick up pennies in the parking lot? Come on, everybody. I pick up pennies in the parking lot and I'm not ashamed. Pennies and not ashamed. I'm not. Because 1 penny applied to this loan would save you 7 cents in interest. You don't have to pay the bank. Oh my goodness. How about that? No wonder we are not told. Well, listen, I'm not done with that yet. Can I do just a couple more? Just a couple more. All right. So now I'm at line 12 on this amortization schedule, line 12 on the amortization schedule. Okay. Here we go. And if I can see on line 12 that I would pay it down by, if I paid every payment on time, $2,456 and a penny. How much interest would I pay? I need you to take a look at cumulative principal over here. I mean, cumulative interest, $11,933.19. $11,933.19 in interest in the first year just to pay this loan down by $2,456 and a penny. Is that what you want? Is that how you want to spend your money? So let me ask you, now that you've learned what you've learned, okay, now that you've learned what you've learned, do I have to give the bank the $2,456 and a penny that goes to principal? Do I have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments and pay them over $900 each month I do it? And let them charge me 12 times to give them $2,456? Or if I had it, could I give them $2,456 and a penny on line 1? Be paid down to line 12 in just 1 month. And what happens to all the interest between line 2 and line 12? What happens to all of that interest, ladies and gentlemen? What happens to all of that? Let's do the math. Let's do the math. I have $200,000. I'm going to subtract $2,456 and a penny from what I owe all at once. Okay. I'm going to do it on line 1. Okay. And when I do that, instead of 12 payments of about $200, let's give them all at one time and subtract it from what I owe. Here's what I owe now. $197,543.99. That's what I owe now. $197,543.99. That is the same amount that's there on line 12. $197,543. You mean I could get there in 1 month? Yes. And then what happens? What happens to all the interest? Look at all that interest between line 2 and line 12. Gone, eliminated. I just knocked off 11 mortgage payments. Remember, here's what I just did, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, I told you at the beginning, the way that this formula is set up, they get to charge you 360 separate times. By giving them money ahead of time, you control how many times they can charge you. So we took this loan from line 1. Okay. Give them the $2,456 and a penny after I made that payment, and my next mortgage payment, because they have to use the number on line 12 now, my next mortgage payment is actually on line 13 of my schedule. What just happened? I'm condensing the amortization schedule. I jump from payment number 1 down to payment number 13 in just 1 month. Payment number 13 is my new number 2 payment because I gave them the $2,456 all at one time. Whew. Every time I go through this, I just get tired. Listen, does this wear you out as much as it wears me out? That we weren't taught this in 8th grade? Because the 8th graders got it. They got it. And they got my book for free. All right. They got my book for free. But I'm taking 11 payments out of the system that they don't get to charge me on. And they charge me on the $200,000. And the next time they get to charge me, it's on $197,543.99, which gives me these two numbers. $211.38 goes to principal. $987.72 goes to interest. If I do it their way, to pay them the $987.72 in interest and the $211 in principal, I've got to make all 12 payments to do it their way and give them $11,933.19 in interest. But if I do what I just explained to you, all the interest I pay is just $1,000 on line 1. Now, let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, and I need you to put a number 5 in the chat. Okay. If you think this is better, which is better? Pay it down to 197,543 and give them $11,933.19, or I can give them $1,000. I think the $1,000 is better than the $11,933. If you think the $1,000 is better in interest paid, put a number 5 in the chat. Put a number 5 in the chat right now if you think I would rather pay $1,000 in interest instead of $11,933 to do the exact same thing. Come on, here they come. Here they come. Wow, wow, wow. I wish I could get somebody to come to the stage to talk to me this morning. Man, oh man. Can I show you now? I want to show you some things based on this information, things that we're taught to do that we shouldn't be doing. Things that we're taught to do that we could do a little better now, okay? We could do things a little better now because we have learned this much, okay? Right now, have you ever heard of marry the house but date the rate? Marry the house but date the rate. We're talking about refinancing now. We're talking about refinancing. I want to show you. Okay, Missy, I see your hand up. Come on up because I'm watching several screens, so it might take me some time. All right. Invite you to speak. Missy, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Oh my God, I love this.
And why do you love it?
You know, I've heard of this before, but not really paid attention. And I'm trying to blow my hair dry and get cute running out the door while I'm trying to hear you. So I'm going to record it and come back. But I think in this market right now, it is. You're married. What is it? Marry the house, date the rate is a huge thing. But I think people have used it so much that buyers are not even listening to it. So at this point, it is such a great buyer's market where I am because there's no competition.
Right.
And if we can get these people to get off the wall or off the whatever and just get out there, I actually got 4% in closing costs, which I've never asked for in 17 years. I thought, what the heck? I might as well ask. And these kids were able to buy down their rate with it. So I love what you're saying, and I am going to somehow or another figure out how to incorporate this into a buyer's blurb that I'm going to put out there and hopefully have you help me educate these young buyers out here, or these old buyers that want to downsize but got a 2.5 and they don't want to give up the McMansion and go into the one level. So I'm all ears, and I'm going into a bad part of town, so I might lose you, but I'm gonna listen. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So right now, folks, I'm going to show you some things that most people will not show you. I actually like the higher interest rates, and I'm going to show you why. But I'm going to start here with something simple. Refi fantasy. You know, you've heard marry the house but date the rate. So when the rates come down, you can get you can refinance. Okay. Did you know that every 5 to 7 years, on average, Americans will refinance their loans? So let me tell you something. Remember in the beginning where I said 90% of the people you know will never pay off their loan? A lot of it has to do with refinancing because we don't have 30-year loans in America. We have a string of 5 to 7 year loans until we die because of refinancing. We're getting a new house. We're downsizing later. We're never done because of that. Let me show you what happens here. I've just shown you a couple of things that goes along. I'm not saying it's never good to refinance. I'm just saying you need to look at all the numbers when you're involved in refinancing. Okay? So let's take a look here. All right. So now I have a $200,000 loan again at 6%. Now the bank is offering, I can get it down to 3%. Boom, boom, boom. I can get it down to 3%. But when it comes to the closing costs, we're going to roll it in. Now, now the average closing cost these days between $8,000 and $10,000. Okay, I'm not even going to use that number. Okay, I'm going to use a different number. Okay, but let me show you what happens first before these folks decide they want to refinance. Let's say they're in their loan for 7 years. First, in the first 12 months, they paid $11,933.19 in interest in the first 11 months. Okay, in the first 12 months in the first year. Okay, in the first 2 years, they paid $23,000 in interest in the first 2 years, and they've only paid their loan down by $5,000. In the first 7 years, that's 84 payments, ladies and gentlemen, they paid their loan down by $20,721.13. But look at here. They've paid $80,000 in interest. That's $100,000 all day. In the first 7 years, they paid out $100,000 of their hard-earned money, and only $20,000 of it has gone to principal. Now we get an opportunity for $5,000 closing fees, $5,000 fees, and because we're going to roll it into the mortgage. Okay, we're at $179,278. We're going to close on this loan. They're going to charge us $5,000. So now we owe $184,278.87 at 3% for 30 years. And guess what? They will give you most of the time a new 30-year loan. And don't get it twisted. Even if they gave you 23-year loan because you were in it 7 already, it still doesn't help you very much. Believe me. Okay. So now we're at $184,278.87, 3% over 30 years. My new payment is $776.93. Woo, boy, oh boy. Okay. Here's my new loan. It's still a 51% loan though. Still 51% loan. Okay. Look at my new payment versus my old payment. My old payment was $1199.10. My new payment is $776.93. That is a $422.17 savings, and that's how it's sold. That's how it's sold. $422. So here's what you're being told. How long do you have to stay in this loan? If I pay the bank $5,000 in closing fees, how long do I have to stay in this loan to recoup my $5,000? So they're going to take the $422.17 and divide it into 5,000 and figure out how long you have to stay in the loan to get your $5,000 back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the wrong way to do it. Let me show you the right way. Are you ready? Watch this. Now, you have the new loan. And they added $5,000 to your loan, to your mortgage at 3%. Let me show you something very interesting here as you're trying to pay off the first $5,000 to get you back to where you were when you refinanced. All right. To get you back to the $184,000. The $179,000 where you were. Okay. So now we're trying to pay it back down to $179,000. In 4 months, you've only paid back $1,200 of the $5,000 rolled in. They've already charged you $1,800 interest on that $5,000 loan. In 10 months, you've paid back $3,198 of the $5,000 you've rolled in. You're still not back to the $179,000 you had when you refinanced the thing. Okay. So you paid this through $3,000 and you've paid $4,571.15 in interest. Let me ask you something. If I came to you and it says, listen, have I got a deal for you? I got a deal for you. I'm going to lend you $3,200 for 10 months. You pay it back and all you got to pay me is $4,500 in interest. That's it. Would you all sign up for that loan? Put a yes or no in the chat. Would you sign up for a loan if I was going to lend you $3,200 for 10 months and charge you $4,500 in interest? Would you take that loan? Walter says, no, I wouldn't take that loan. But everyone here, when I first put that mortgage up, I'm going to give you 3% loan instead of 6% loan, and then $5,000 rolled in. There are a lot of people say, I would get that. I would get that. I would get that. Okay. I would get that loan. But guess what is actually happening behind the scenes? By the time you've paid back the $5,000, it takes you 16 months to get back to where you were. 16 months to get back to the 179,000. This, you know what I call this, ladies and gentlemen? Here's what I call this. How not to pay your mortgage for 16 months and still keep your house. Because you were down to 179,000. Now you're not paying on the house anymore. You're just paying off the $5,000 you rolled in to get this good deal. Huh? Is that what happened? So when you add the $5,000 to the $7,000 in interest, that refinance in the first 16 months cost you $12,430.88. That's what it cost you. Now you can do your math to figure out when you're going to recoup your money, because that's how much that's the true cost of borrowing the money. $5,000 plus the $7,275 in interest I paid the bank to borrow that $5,000. Well, listen, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. I need you to really look at this thing, what really just happened. If I borrow $10 and I pay it back, and I pay back $10 in interest on that $10 for a total of $20. Okay, I'll ask it one more time. If I borrow $10 and I pay back the $10 plus another $10 in interest for a total of $20, what interest rate did I just pay? Somebody put it in the chat for me. What interest rate did I just pay? Okay, while you're doing that, we've got some answers here. I got Dr. Stacy. Dr. Stacy says, I probably would because I didn't know. She said, probably would do it because she didn't know. But listen, but now she says, what she says now? But now because I know, heck no, she says that. All right. Thank you, Dr. Stacy. Thank you, Dr. Stacy. So L. Walter says 100% interest. And you're absolutely right, L. Walters. 100% interest. So let me ask you, if I borrow $5,000 and I pay back $5,000 in interest for a total of $10,000, what is that interest rate? What is that interest? I borrowed $5 and I'm going to pay back $5. What is that interest rate? If I borrow 10 and pay back $10, it's 100%. But if I borrow 5,000 and pay back 5,000 and pay back my 5,000 plus another $5,000 in interest, isn't that 100% interest too? Ladies and gentlemen, am I? Al Walter says 100% correct. Dr. Stacy says 100% correct. Okay, look here, folks. So these people have perfect credit. So they didn't pay 5,000, they paid 7,000. So it's about 125% interest rate, 125% interest on a $5,000 loan. That's what actually happened here. If the banks weren't making money on refinancing, they wouldn't be doing it. If the mortgage companies and the banks were not making money on this, they wouldn't be doing it, would they? Oh my goodness. Listen, I need to go on. Listen, now that you've learned what you've learned, all right? Somebody called me yesterday about putting a large down payment on it was on Friday, a large down payment on a car or a house. Never, ever. I call that down payment deception. Based on what you've learned so far, I need you to see this. All right. I had a neighbor I had a neighbor, local businessman. He's building a 400,000. Well, it's larger than 400,000, but he's borrowing $400,000 to build this home. All right, he's already put his 3.5% down. Right, but now he owes 400,000. He has an extra $100,000. Okay, and this is what he asked me. He says, Don, should I put this $100,000 down so I could finance $300,000 instead of $400,000 at 3% over 30 years? Now, this was some time ago. Okay. And here's what I said. Now, you want the $400,000 loan at 3%, but he's an engineer. And you know, if you are in real estate, if you are in any type of financial you work in finances at all, you know what happens when you're talking to an engineer, because they come with their spreadsheets and everything. They got it all figured out. So he says, "Down. What do you mean? Let's compare. I got the $400,000 loan on the left. I got the $300,000 loan on the right. Look at the payments: $1,686 versus $1,264. Well, that 300 loan is winning. I've got total interest costs on this loan, $207,000 versus $155. Again, the $300,000 loan looks like it's winning. Okay. What else we got? Okay. But look at the return on investment for the bank. Both loans, because they're at 3%, it's still 51.777% for the bank. They don't care. In fact, they love it when you put a large down payment down. Let me show you what's going on here. The amount of interest, the difference in interest paid for 30 years. If you keep the loan for 30 years, okay, the difference is $207,000 versus $155 is $51,779. Says, Don, if I put the $100,000 down, it's going to save me over the life of the loan $51,779. Why wouldn't I use my $100,000 that way? I said, well, here's what you could do. Here is your $400,000 loan. Here is your first payment, where $686.42 goes to principal. $1,000 goes to interest. Okay. Now, here's my question. If you have the $400,000 loan, where's your $100,000? He says, my $100,000 is still in the bank. So here's my question. Could you now apply your $100,000 to principal? He never thought about it that way before. If he puts that $100,000 on principal, here's what happens. Here's $100,000 in prepaid principal, ladies and gentlemen. It takes him down to payment number 125 on his amortization schedule, instead of starting out at payment number 1 on a $300,000 loan. He starts out on payment 125 on what? Oh, it's still a $300,000 loan because he put his $100,000 down as a prepayment. Oh my goodness. And instead of, here we go. He says, I would say $51,000 over the life of the loan. By putting that $100,000 down, how much interest has he saved already that he'll never have to pay? $110,000 in interest saved that he won't have to pay. Oh my goodness. Do you believe it? Do you see it? That's why people need to see these numbers. Never, ever, 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 ever put a large down payment on a loan, ever. Keisha Smith, come on, Keisha. She said, this is blessing me. Okay. All right. I love that. Thank you for your comments there. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Keisha. All right. What else we got? What else do we have to tell the people? Ladies and gentlemen, what else do we have to tell them? We got to tell them this. By applying the $100,000 as a prepayment, not as a down payment, where you're getting a car or whatever, don't put a large down payment on your stuff. Okay. If you can afford the payment, use that money later. It'll save you more money and it'll take off payments. I wish I had time to break down the amortization schedule for you today so that you can see all of this. All right. But I don't. But I can give you the basics here. If you want more, you've got to go to ice10k.com and contact us. Fill out Get a Savings and Earnings Report at ice10k.com. Get a savings and earnings report, and then we will be able to help you further. So applying $100,000 as a prepayment instead of a down payment saves $110,000, all right? And knocks off 10 years, 3 months off this loan. 10 years, 3 months off the loan. Boom, by putting the $100,000 as a prepayment instead of a down payment. Why aren't we being told this? Why are we allowed to go ahead and put the $100,000 down and start our $300,000 loan at payment number 1 when we can start at payment number 125? Dr. Stacy says, when people used to say, congratulations on buying a house, I will say, I don't feel like it was a blessing, but with this information, I feel like it's a blessing. Come on, doctor. I feel like this is something everybody should know. Come on. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Come on, doctor. Thank you for saying that this morning. Thank you for saying that this morning. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Now, let's continue this because I got a few minutes left. I got about 15 minutes left in my 2-hour room. All right. So I want to thank everybody for being here. All right. But make sure that you're following me. Make sure that you're following Credit Ninja, who was in here earlier. Make sure that you're a member of the Mortgage Syndicate and the P.I.L.L Method House. All right. Make sure you're a member of both. I want you to see what's going on here. Watch this. You now have only 19 years, 9 months left on this loan. What? Instead of putting the $100,000 as a down payment, you use it as a prepayment. You immediately have a 19 years, 9 months left on this loan, and you still have a $300,000 mortgage. Whew. Let me tell you something. When you look at an amortization schedule, it takes between 17 years and 21 years just to pay off the first half of your loan. I will repeat that. When you look at an amortization schedule, and I'm using to create this, I'm using Brett Whistle, and you can do this on your own. Brett Whistle, B-R-E-T is his first name, last name Whistle, W-H-I-S-S-E-L. Okay, all right. Tech Eye Unloaded says P.I.L.L Method is the best. Oh, come on, Tech Eye. Come on, let's put that on the screen. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what I need you to see. You now have 19 years, 9 months left. Let's not get fooled by this anymore. Let's not do this anymore. Continue to use the P.I.L.L Method. Now, this person actually signed up for the P.I.L.L Method. And because of that, putting that money down as a prepayment instead of a down payment and using the P.I.L.L Method to take care of the rest of his debt, he's going to be out of debt in 7 years and pay a grand total in interest on everything, just $30,000 on the entire loan, because with the P.I.L.L Method, we'll be able to tell him when to place money on the debt at the right times to cancel thousands upon thousands of dollars in interest. Boom. Just like that. Just like that. So once we did that for him, guess what he says? He says, I'm his new best friend. Brett Whistle. It's W-H, I'll put it in the chat, B-R-E-T-W-H-I-S-S-E-L. Brett Whistle. Okay? Brett Whistle. All right. And you put it in all together, it's brettwhistle.net. And you can create your own amortization schedules with that. That's what I use as a teaching tool. Okay. And I'll put it in the chat over here. on Clubhouse. All right. BRET, Brett Whistle. All right. WHISSEL.net. Okay, I got to take this out. There we go. BrettWhistle.net. Okay. And you can create your own amortization schedule. That's what I use for all of my presentations. That's not my program though, but it's something that I use to teach. I'm this guy's new best friend just because I showed him this. All right. Somebody asked me a question about student loans, but first I have to ask a question to you. First, I have to ask a question to you. When does it make sense for you to stop building the bank's fortune and start building your own family's financial legacy? When does it make sense for you to start doing that? Okay? When does it make sense? So somebody asked me about student loans, and I'm going to show you one last thing. Here's my last presentation for the day. Somebody asked me about student loans. I call this student loan larceny. And I did listen, go back through. I need you to go back through the P.I.L.L Method site, our channel. And then when you're searching through the videos, the live videos, put in student loans. I've done two presentations on this recently. And the government has a new SAVE program, SAVE. You want to check that out and apply right away. Apply right away. For some of you, it will cut your student loan payments in half when you start. For some of you, you won't even have a student loan payment for some of you. And after 20 years, your student loans are forgiven if you get on this plan. Okay, after 20 years, even if you have a tiny payment, even if you have no payment, after 20 years, you're done. Okay, remember how the interest that you didn't pay, remember how that interest you didn't pay gets added on to your loan? They stopped that. That's gone. No more. No more capitalized interest on student loans. So go ahead, watch my videos. Go ahead and find them on student loans and watch it. But you can go straight to the government website and look up the SAVE program, SAVE program, and apply today. Okay? So Dr. Stacy says, smart says, Gibson, she says, immediately and now. Immediately and now. Watch this for student loans, ladies and gentlemen. And I promise you, all I need you to do is not to say any bad words when I show you this. Okay? I met a student not too long ago, and I asked him, he said, listen, I just got out of school. I got a new car, and I want to know how to pay off my car and my student loans. I said, well, how much do you have in student loans? He says, oh, I'm blessed. I only have $9,500. I said, ooh, you did really well. $9,500 in student loans. That's it. Not $95,000, not $195,000, but $9,500 at 6% interest. His payments based on income, $50 a month. How long should it take to pay off $9,500 at 6% for 50 years? How long should it take? This is how it breaks down. 601 months. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 50 years. This kid getting out of school didn't know that paying $50 a month on $9,500 would take him 50 years to pay off using this amortization formula that I showed you at the top of the show. How fair is that? We're not teaching these kids this. So listen, if you have influence, and you have, if there is your college, your alma mater, your university, if you have influence there and you want the new students coming in to know this information, how they can take advantage of these student loans and make them work for them, have your school invite the P.I.L.L method in. Okay? Go to ice10k.com. All of our information is there. We'll be glad to go. We'll go to your college or university. We'll come to your church. We'll go to your community center. You invite us in. We will teach this to everyone who calls upon us. Okay? So let's continue on. Watch this now. Instead of 50 years, here's why it takes 50 years. Total interest paid using the amortization schedule will be $20,550. If he makes every payment on time. Total repaid is $30,050 on a $9,500 loan. That makes total interest paid as a percentage of principal 216%. What? Yeah, 216%, ladies and gentlemen. Horace Jennings says, good morning from Virginia. Good morning to you, Horace. Good to see you. Okay. So here's how the loan breaks down. And I need somebody, listen, if you're watching this, I need you to put it in the chat. I'm trying not to give out the answer. In this very first payment, only $2.50 goes to principal. $2.50 goes to principal. $47.50 goes to interest. Look at that. Which leaves him on his very first payment, $9,497.50. The next month, look at this. It only changes by a penny. $2.51 goes to principal and $47.49 goes to interest. Ladies and gentlemen, what does this young man have to do to save $47.49 in interest? Can somebody put it in the chat? So somebody put it in online, okay? Can somebody do that today? All right. Show me. What does he have to do to eliminate $47.49 worth of interest that he doesn't have to pay? Can I get somebody who's been listening? I'm going to wait just a few more seconds. Maybe you're just taking time to type it. What does he have to do? Oh, she says prepay. Prepay what, Cheryl? What does he have to prepay to save $47.49? What does he have to prepay? Anybody who's looking at the screen, what does he have to prepay? The principal. There you go. $2.51. If he pays his $50 and comes up with an extra $2.51, he doesn't have to pay. He eliminates one line. There you go. Somebody said that. I see it online. Here, let me put it on the screen. Prepay $2.51. It doesn't have to pay. There it is, $2.51. He's paid down to here, and it saves, my goodness, $47.49 in interest he doesn't have to pay. And it skips down to line 3 on the schedule, just for $2.51. Folks, does this make sense to you? Does this make sense to you? Okay. Have we been, listen, is the lending industry scamming all of us because we don't know this information? Okay. So somebody said prepay $25. Okay. Let's see what would happen. All right. Let's say we're going to do 12 months. We're going to do better than that. Okay. Naveen says prepay 25. Naveen, what would happen if we took 12 months of principal payments, added them up, that would come to $30.84. Could we prepay $30.84? Could we do that? All right. What would happen? We're going to prepay $30.84 and knock out all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12. It would be gone. My goodness, Mike. Listen, Dr. Stacy, I know you're playing around with Brett Whistle now because you're coming up with these numbers. Okay, Dr. Stacy. She said, I got a new toy. I'm playing with it. Come on. Watch this. We're not done. Saving over $560 in interest this young man never has to pay if he can just come up with $30.84 and prepay it to this loan and knock off 1 year. $30 knocks off 1 year on this loan. Boom. Just like that. An extra $30. What would happen if we did 6639? 6639 knocks off 2 years. $66.39 knocks off 2 years on this loan. My. Ladies and gentlemen, I've bent your ear long enough. I only have just a few minutes left in my 2-hour show, but I hope this has been beneficial to you today. All right. I want to thank you for being here. I want to spend just a little bit of time, and we're going to stop this right now. We're going to remove that and change the branding just a little bit. Bring this back here. Okay. And I want to thank you for being here today. I want to spend some time and talk about becoming an affiliate with the P.I.L.L method. Okay. Go to ice10k.com and become an affiliate if you believe. Let's see. Dr. Stacy says if you prepay $94.99, which was a cumulative. Okay, I see what you say. Dr. Stacy, go ahead and practice with that and play with that a little bit. All right. So, ladies, all I need you to do is look at this for just a minute. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. We're going to put that on the screen for you. All right. So I'm going to change screens here. All right. And we're going to stop this. All right. And put up a new window. Okay. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. And you'll see, I'll add that to the screen. You'll see my my digital business card. Okay. Get that. And then you can click on become an affiliate, and you can make between $300 and $3,000 a month as an affiliate. You could also buy my book using the same card. But don't forget to get your savings and earnings report today. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you. Our last thing we're going to hear from today is Dr. Eric Thomas, who paid off his mortgage in just a few years using the P.I.L.L method. And I'll see you all again on Wednesday. All right. So, Dr. Eric Thomas, where are you? What do you have to say about this program? Let me find the video. Where'd he go? There it is.
Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.